Well, the Afghan security forces are notoriously corrupt. The police are widely known as being corrupt and shaking people down at checkpoints and taking money. But of all the various sections of the Afghan security forces, the most corrupt are the border police. If you look at the Afghan border police and compare them to the rest of the Afghan security forces, there's only one difference in terms of their training, and that's that they were trained by Blackwater.
In other news from Afghanistan, the company formerly known as Blackwater is in the running for a contract potentially worth $1 billion to train Afghanistan's national police force. Under an existing defense contract, the company, Z, that's XZ, formerly known as Blackwater, already trains the Afghan border police.
The Afghan border police are tasked with defending the border between Afghanistan and Pakistan. So they're a section of the Afghan police. They're trained by Blackwater nowadays. And there's thousands of miles of border. Insurgents cross the border very easily, and so the border police are seen as pretty essential to actually securing the country. I went out to a province called Kunar, which is right near the tribal areas of Pakistan. And I went and spent some time at a border police outpost. It was nowhere near the border. And I asked the border police commanders why that was the case, and they all said again and again that, we don't go near the border. That's not something that we do. And they're not well enough equipped, and they're not well enough trained to be able to leave their posts and go to the border. This is something that I think largely falls on the shoulders of Blackwater, because Blackwater is tasked with actually training the border police. So they were doing everything imaginable, like drugs, smuggling, siding with the insurgents, except for what they were actually supposedly trained to do, which is protecting the border.
FBI agents have arrested 2 men who worked in Afghanistan for the company formerly known as Blackwater. The indictment handed up by a federal grand jury charges each man with 2 counts of second-degree murder and includes several weapons charges. The arrest stemmed from the shooting deaths of 3 Afghan men in Kabul last May.
The individuals who are accused of murdering these 2 Afghan civilians were there in a training capacity to train the Afghan armed forces. We're going to see more of these Blackwater types on the ground in Afghanistan as part of a parallel surge to the combat forces.
There was a sense that they weren't being trained or not being trained properly. And so you heard again and again from soldiers that even people who didn't know that Blackwater was training, they're saying, well, I don't know who's training these people, but they need to do a better job, or they need to get their act together.